I'm dead.
I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm Cassie Bollinger. And then everybody,
Kiki.
y'all
I
are
was
like
waiting
this,
for
lean
Jackie.
back.
I always go
I
last.
know, lean back. Jackie's all like, who's going next? There's nobody else here, Jackie.
All right,
How
I
did
have to hop
Kiki's
off
eye
so I can
treatment
put Key
go?
to bed.
Uh,
Oh, you got, oh,
She
did
just
okay.
her
showered
spa day
in her
go?
pajamas. Huh?
Is she
What'd
done
you
with
say?
her spa day?
She take them off. She get the
Does
bags
she
out from
look
under her
younger?
eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Does
She's
she
a
look
good
like she's a
time.
year old now? I mean, because, she is
Just
getting kind of
roaming
old.
around the house with her eye patches. No biggie. That's just a typical Tuesday over here.
All right.
My 3-year-old needs a spa day,
Hey,
Had such a
Hey,
hard day playing.
I know.
I know she
Not
worked
so
really hard
bad.
today. She needed her time off.
Apparently. Now she's in her mermaid dress, all showered, like ready for bed. Just living the best life she can.
I want to be Kiki when I grow up.
No joke.
Who doesn't want to be Kiki? I mean, she
She
gets her
is.
butt wiped. She ain't got to do that by herself. Like somebody bathes her. Like
Oh my, yeah.
somebody
Can I
puts
just,
her to bed. She gets a snack. Like let me be her. She doesn't have
do
to
I
do
get to crawl
laundry.
someone else's bed and change the TV? Like I want that. Like I just get to crawl into whatever bed and I just get to change the TV and be
No, yeah,
like,
and if
turn it.
she's tired of watching whatever on TV, she'll come get us and she's like, I want to watch something else. So we get to go in there and change her TV.
Oh, just wait till she gets her own cell phone. She'll call you and be like, will you please come in and change the channel? This is
I
boring.
text my son, I'm like, hey, come up to my room, please. Or hey, can you do this? Like, I'll just sit in
Grab
the
the
Hey,
remote on your
I
way.
use Google, and when I'm in the kitchen cooking dinner, and I'll be like, "Hey Google, tell Madison it's dinner time." Like I don't even walk to her bedroom. I just announce it.
Dude, technology. It's freaking
Yeah,
crazy.
Oh
amazing.
goodness.
All right, before I do have to go upstairs and Tim's
All
getting
right.
Oh,
her
go take
bedtime
care of
snack.
Kiki.
Okay. All right. Love you. Bye.
Okay, bye, love you.
Bye.
Oh, so like, do you get scared on recruiting ever?
I don't get scared. I I think the majority with me is, and now that I've changed how I went through, kind of how I do it now. But the biggest thing that I had, it wasn't necessarily getting scared. It was the feeling of I don't want to overwhelm somebody who
Want it?
doesn't want it like I do. They don't, again, it's just this is a hobby, or they want it to be something and then I'm not giving them enough. So that's more of what I worry about. Like, am I giving them what they need, and am I giving them too much? And so that's where I struggle the most.
Well, and when I gave everybody everything in the beginning, I had everybody hitting shooting star. I had everybody hitting at least level
Wow.
one. Like that was
Yeah.
like my minimum. Is like, when you're ready to do this, this is what we're doing. We're doing the 515 days and we're hitting level one sensational start period. Like
Hmm.
there was no give or take. I didn't ask them, like in the beginning, I didn't ask them how they wanted to run their business. I told them how they're doing their business
Right.
because I knew that if they got started,
Right.
then they would go through. And I can honestly say it wasn't until this last year, so between 2023 and 2024, that a lot of my 2020 years that came in with me have fallen off
Yeah. Yeah.
because it did get to a point where I was overwhelming them. But there was nothing going on in 2020. So I think that's also why it was different, is because we were all home. And it was like, this was their job, because their job either had them
Yes.
working home from remote. And honestly, that's why I think remote jobs are so much better, because there is no reason for you to be in an office 8 hours. And like, yours is different. You have, I mean, you're helping sick people.
Yeah.
You can't really do that remotely. But for the rest of us that work just like on a computer or are doing something that they're not, even customer service calls people were taking at home,
Hmm.
there's not really ever 8 hours of work. When I did corporate, I
Hmm.
can tell you for the first hour getting there, all it is yakking about like what happened last night or what
Yeah.
emails you got this morning. And it wasn't until 10 o'clock when I started working. And then there was lunchtime at 12. And I was checked out by 2 because food had hit and I was in the food coma and I was ready to go. But I
Yeah.
wasn't productive after 2.
Yeah.
And that's why I work early and get done early, because my ADD, my food feeds it. And whenever I actually eat early, I will finish and I go and go and go until the food's burn off. And then I'm like, I got to go lay down. But I don't ever stop. Like, I had a friend tell me, she's like, you don't ever stop. And I was like, I can't stop pushing for my dream. Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I know as cheesy as that sounds, but I want to go to Greece and I want to get my business back to where it was during 2020 without it being a pandemic. Like, that is my ultimate goal. I want to see, can I get back up to 2,000 consistently,
Well,
3,000 consistently?
yeah, and that's, I mean, yeah, I started this out as, I never saw it as a business. If you had said, "Hey, Jacqui, you'll be a director or a star director someday," I would have been like, "Psh, no, no, I won't." And I remember I struggled just to, and back in when I had started, active was 150 PRV a month. I struggled to get 150. It took me forever just to get to where I was consistently just being active every single month.
Yeah.
And so now my Scentsy it's our house payment, right?
Yeah.
And so I work full time, Justin works full time, but we rely on my Scentsy income to take care of our house payment. And I never, ever would have thought that I would have something that would help me do that. And that's with me working full time.
Right.
So the thing is you're right. Like, if somebody really wants this and they decide, it's really sitting down with people and saying, what do you want? Because yes, I wanted, when I initially said this is going to be a business, I'm really going to start working it as a business, I wanted a car payment. That was the goal. We needed a car. We needed a car, and there was no way that we could afford $300 and some to make a freaking car payment at the time. There was no way it was going to happen. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. I've got this Scentsy thing over here that I know I really haven't been doing anything with, but let me really start trying to do something with it. And when I was able to start doing that, it was like, what have I been sitting on this whole time? Like, this is
But I
this
think
is
it all boils
amazing.
down to it's the want to or need to.
It's the want. Yeah.
And
It's
so,
that why, or the desire, or the drive.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I had to, like, it would,
Mhm.
and it had to need to, like, because I couldn't find a job during the pandemic. I couldn't go
Yeah.
back. I was a process server, so the courts were shut down, and
Mhm.
they were supposed to be opened in just a month. It was only going to be a little bit, but it was shut down for almost 2 years, and they're so
Yeah.
far behind in the court systems because of that shutdown. But I couldn't do what I was doing, and I didn't want to go back into the corporate field, because now I couldn't even go get one-on-one training with somebody because nobody was hiring. They were laying people off.
Yes.
I was very lucky I got out of the corporate where I was at before when I did, because I left in October of 2019. So
Mhm.
from basically November 1st until March, I was a process server making my own money. So if I went and served paperwork, I got paid.
Yeah.
So I was working on my own schedule. So I'd already had that mindset before I started with Scentsy, but everything was shut down. And at that point, it was a necessity. And I honestly didn't have the $20. But
Mhm.
that $20, it took me a week or maybe it was like 12 days. I think it was like 12 days before my kit showed up, and I pushed and created a VIP group. And that's when I got $1,200 because
Yeah.
it was a have to. And I was talking to someone today who's not on my team, but she needed some help. And I said, if you want to push, then there are ways to push. It means
Yeah.
that you have to get down and dirty and you have to do it. You can't post and pray and think that that one post one time is going to get people to come to you to order or come to you to join your team. It's the individual contacts. It's the individual phone calls, text messages, emails, Facebook Messenger. It's the one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I can't reiterate that enough, is that I can sit there and say I haven't recruited in a year, but I honestly can tell you that I haven't tried to do the one-on-one conversations.
Well,
And
and
it's
I think that's a difference too, right? If you want this to be a business income, whether it's part-time, whether it's to make that car payment, whether it's a full-time, I don't want to have to go back to work income, that's fine. But it is a business for a reason, right? Like, you have to work it like a business. You're not gonna post today and wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, look, I just did $2,000 overnight.
Right.
And I think a lot of it is, I mean, the culture in the world is changing. You see people on TikTok who can get one viral video and suddenly they're making, you know, tens of thousands of dollars on TikTok.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they
You know?
expect that you go live with a product that all of a sudden you're going to have so many people ordering. And
Right.
it is, and there's no I mean, I know there's a formula. There's some algorithm formula out there
Yeah.
of what you need to do, of what time, what day, how do you
Right.
do it? When do you do it? There's all this stuff. And I think for Scentsy consultants, no matter if they are current or even if they were past Scentsy consultants, it boils down to you need to want to,
Mhm.
and you need to be consistent, because nobody wants to order from somebody, start loving a product, and then all of a sudden when you reach out to them again, they're like, oh, I'm no longer doing that. Because
Well,
I can tell you the
and-
first 6 months, the customers I got were people who were trying to look for a consultant because their consultants had quit.
Yep. And that's that viral thinking, right? So, yeah, do you want to make, you know, $2,000 this month in Scentsy and then not do anything for 6 months and expect to still get a paycheck? No, because this is we're working it as a business. And a business is long term. It is not I'm going to get rich tomorrow and then I'm going to be fine for 3 months and then I'll try again and then it'll be great. That's not how it works. We have to be consistent. We have to have a business model mindset and work it as that business so that I can make a house payment every single month, right? Like I can't just do it once and be done.
So kind of getting down to like personal, how many hours do you think you put into Scentsy in a week from Sunday to Saturday? How many hours are you working? Because I think we've talked about the part-time and the full-time and the hobbyist, but I think we kind of need to, like, I think there's a misconception that we work this 50 hours a week.
Oh God,
I think
no.
that's the other thing. And
No.
but so, I mean, like, honestly, do you kind of like, do you time slot like each day? And then how long is that? Or is it kind of like, I just have these projects to do, or these things, I say projects, but these different things I'm going to do this week, and you just find time? Like, so how many hours are you spending a week?
So mine looks a little different now because when I was working in the OR, I was working Monday through Friday and I wouldn't get off until 4:30, right? So mine at that time, Monday through Friday, I would work at least, because the first hour I would get home, I would come straight into my office. Like sometimes I would change my clothes. Half the time I wouldn't even change my clothes. I would literally just walk in here and be like, okay, I'm going to at least sit in here for an hour until I got to start cooking dinner and do all the things. So it was at least 5 hours a week. And then depending on if we did trainings or if I had a meeting, you know, a training meeting, whatever, then there would be maybe a little bit extra time still in that evening. And then the remainder of my time was probably during the weekend. So I would honestly say I probably was working my business anywhere between 10, maybe 13 hours a week. Honestly, if you were to put it all together, now I have a little bit more time that I can dedicate to it, which is why I'm able to kind of get caught up on the things that I've been missing. But that's because my schedule looks different now.
Right.
But even just working, and that's what I tell my team all the time, right? Like, I don't care if you have 30 minutes a day.
Yep.
As long as you know, okay, and I set your timer. I've got 30 minutes before I got to cook dinner, put the kids to bed, do all the things. Okay, what's on your to-do list today? Just get through that to-do list. And if you can get it done in 5 minutes, awesome. If you get it takes you 30 minutes, awesome. It's not necessarily about the time. It's about how you're spending that time.
Like what you can get done.
Yeah, because I left the corporate hospital. I left there in 2019. And then for 3 years, I stayed home. And at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna have all this time to work my Scentsy business. This is amazing. You know what would happen? I slept in every fucking day. And then I would get on and I'd watch a little bit of Netflix. And then before I knew it, it was time to cook dinner and it was time to do all the things. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't do anything in my business today. Oh, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'd roll around. It would be a whole nother thing. And so I really didn't dedicate it because I wasn't focused. I wasn't intentional. And so even though I had 40 hours a week I could dedicate to it, I certainly wasn't working 40 hours a week at doing it. But it was just when I did do it, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is kind of is doing some kind of list. And I know some people are like, I don't make lists. That's fine. Whatever you need to figure out a to do for the week, and then figure out where you can fit it in. For me, like right now I'm on summer break. So I had a major class in May that was a 16-week course in 14 days. So I didn't really do much of Scentsy. All of June I had a class. Every single week was 3 to 4 chapters. So in June I didn't do a lot. July was my first off. Like I had all of July, and then I've had these last couple of weeks because I started.
Well, and then we went to Orlando for a week in July.
Yeah, and we were gone. So it is getting back into it. But now that I've gotten somewhat of used to how my schedule can be, I've changed up. I'm not going to be working on campus this year because I wanted to be able to dedicate that time. The amount of money I'd be making on campus working and not being able to do my business was the same amount of money that I was missing because I wasn't able to work my business. Yeah. And for me, and I talk about my ADHD because I've really realized how much this fuels my business and also how much it's detrimental to my business because I do have to have a to-do list because there's days that I don't want to get out of bed. Yep. But I also told myself, no matter what. So if you're ADHD, try this tip is that you have to work 20 minutes and you have a deadline. It has to be done before X time. So I tell myself every day, no matter what it is I do in my office, my husband gets off work at 1:30, that I have to work in my office 20 minutes every day before he gets home. Yeah. And so that way I'll get in here. Now, there's many times because once you make yourself do it and you're in here, it may be more than 20 minutes. Yeah. But then I also know when I start, I'm over here and I'm posting on Facebook and then I like find the reels and then I get stuck into the reels and then I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta stop. And I gotta tell myself what's on my list. Yes. And I'll go into my husband and I'm like, I know I've been in there for 4 hours, but I only got about an hour worth of work done because I started scrolling or TikTok or something. Or
I was looking for an idea or I was looking for a picture and then all of a sudden here
and
I am.
And then you go the spiral and that spiral goes off. And so, but I can honestly say that in the beginning, I was probably pulling 40 to 60 hours a week in the very beginning because I was a video watcher. I was watching videos after videos and I can sit for a long period of time because it would be running. I would be brushing my hair, taking a shower. My YouTube was going. I'd be driving around.
I still to this day, like I'll be cooking dinner and I'll have my iPad or even my phone up and I'll be watching, right? But listening to a YouTube training.
Yeah. And then, or I'll go through Facebook. We have Facebook groups for Scentsy and they'll be on Mondays. There's certain groups. And then sometimes there'll be stuff that's all through the month. So I love it, like Active in April, because there's a lot of groups that will have a Saturday and Sunday and every 30 minutes there's someone popping on. And I love those because I can go through and watch them or listen to them. And then I can stop, but I can go back. So I always make sure I like it and say hashtag like replay or something. So I can kind of mark my spot and then go back to it later. But now that I've learned the basics, like I would never say I know everything about Scentsy, but I do know how to follow it with my customers. It doesn't take me as long, especially with the new Connect app. I know how to reach out to customers. I know how, I know what to say because since August 1st, I've been doing it a lot. Yeah. And you get better at it. Conversational. Like if you're at stay at home or you're working from home and you don't have conversations with people, it's going to be hard to have conversations with customers because you're not used to talking to people. And that was why I went back to school and was like, I need to be around people. Yeah.
No, and that's why I went back to work because even though it sounds great, like, oh, I retired early because I did, but I honestly, I was like, this is not doing me any favors. I am lazy. I am not doing anything. I am not getting out of the house. I became a hermit. I was like, no, this has got to change. My mental health was horrible. It was awful. I just had to get out. But I tell my customers a lot because a lot of, or not my customers, my team members, and they'll be like, yeah, I don't really have an office, or I don't really have somewhere I can sit down and work. Well, okay, I just went to the library today because I wanted to get a new book to take with me for when I'm out at work. Went to the library and I was sitting there like walking around the library and I was like, oh, it's just so quiet in here.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it like once a week. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to bring my laptop and I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to put myself in a new environment for like an hour once a
Yeah.
week. And I can work from my laptop. You can work, you don't have to have a laptop. You can do it from a flipping phone, right?
Yep.
You can work your business from anywhere. So if you don't have an office, if you don't have that dedicated space, or if you've got the kids and they're driving you insane, you're like, I can't get any work done. Well, then you know what? Go to the library for half an hour. Go up to Starbucks. Go sit in McDonald's. Almost everywhere has Wi-Fi
Yep.
anymore, right? I mean, get yourself in a different environment and you're going to find that it might give you that motivation or that different outlook of, you know what, that's now my quiet time. That's my work time. I'm able to get so much done when I go and spend 30 minutes somewhere. If I was just, rather than just sitting at the house where I'd get distracted doing the dishes or cleaning or doing the whatever, right? And so I think that can
And
make
then
a
you're
big
out in the
difference
world
too.
because as you're
Yes.
driving and you're listening either to a training or because every time I get in the car and I'm by myself, I have a training going
Mm-hmm.
or I have an audiobook about, the stuff I'm working on, my personalized stuff that I'm
Yeah.
working on, like myself, like I'm on 2 books right now and I keep listening to them every time I get in the car because of self-sabotage, because we all have that little voice that tells us we can't do this. We're never going to be anything. But it's like listening to these books, I realize where those words are coming from that are inside my head. And it was because
Yeah.
somebody said them to me.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting my inner self because I know deep down that I am built to do more than what I've been doing. And I think August 1st, and it wasn't even that it was August 1st, it was just after we came back from SFR, I was sick. Like
Yeah.
I did not check to see if I got COVID, but it wasn't just like sick like COVID because I've had it once before. It
Mm-hmm.
was we changed from a whole environment down there of having swampy. I'm trying to say the whole thing. The
I know.
swampiness going on and the humidity. I'm not
Yes.
used to that. And coming back here, it really took a toll on me.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I don't eat the same when I'm at SFR. We did eat more than we did in Salt Lake City. We ate more than we had last year because again, it was so busy. Like we would have
I
to
want to
leave.
know why I didn't lose like 50 pounds the week we went to Salt Lake City because I don't remember eating like but one time. It
I,
was awful.
I think we had more or less water weight because we were trying to stay hydrated, but it was,
I was
and
so hungry.
we were so hungry all the time. Like I don't even think I focused on anything.
Mm-mm.
But I think with our businesses and that, yes, it looks like we do a lot, but it's just like whenever you first start learning to tie your shoe or ride a
Yeah.
bike or learn how to drive a car, it takes time and practice. And the first time you took out to drive a car and whoever was teaching you took you, like my dad used to take me around the college parking lot because
Mm-hmm.
on Sundays they did not have classes on Sundays. Now they do, but they didn't then. And so we could go through and there's roads and we'd park and he'd make me back up. I couldn't drive through because we don't do that. But he was trying to teach me the proper way of doing it. And so
Yeah.
when you're going through training and you're learning this business, you have to understand that there's some basics. Even if you don't have a customer service background, or even if you do, you still have to learn what works for you in this business.
Yeah.
And luckily, all my jobs have been customer service. So I do know how to take care of someone. I know how to respond to them and be, gracious for thank you so much for supporting my business. And thank you so much for your order. Let me know if you
Mhm.
have any questions. But it's also that you have to have that tougher skin too of when someone says no, it's not about you. It's not
Right.
about you. You have no idea what their situation going on is, and you need to just learn to be gracious because they're going to remember that. What do
Yeah.
you mean? You told me you're going to order. You don't send that back and you're like, "Well, you told me you'd pay me Friday or you were going to place the order Friday. Now it's Sunday and I need you to place that order." I'm just like, "No worries. Do you want me to check back?" Like there's
Yeah.
so many things that I've learned better for customer service wise because I think I've been doing it long enough I mean,
Yeah.
4 years is for me a long time. I mean, well, only other job I had longer was working in the corporate, and I'll tell you what, every single day I wanted to pull my hair out. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why I shaved it all off because I was just tired of the hair. There's nothing to hold on to. But you know, it's really a mentality thing. And once you find your tribe, and
Mhm.
I will say, talk to as many consultants, try to interact with as many because I
Yeah.
lucked out finding Jacqui. I
Yeah.
lucked out finding Robin. I
Yeah.
really like it was not intentional. Like I watched Jacqui, but I also watched a lot of other SSDs, but nobody was near me. There wasn't
Yeah.
anybody who was like in Texas that was close. Like there's a whole bunch of them that are down in Houston.
Mhm.
There's some that are out in Dallas and North Texas. I'm kind of like North Central. I'm in, just south of Fort Worth. I couldn't find someone to chat with. And so when I met Jacqui and we had this big chat group that we ended up dwindling down and dwindling down and dwindling down because then it was when you start having conversations that's no longer about Scentsy at
Yeah.
all for months and months, those are not the people you need to collab with for business. Like if you just want to have a
No.
relationship, that's cool. Go do you,
Right.
boo. But you do need to have the people that understand. And like, if I'm looking for something, like I messaged Waxy Cats, who isn't able to be on
Mhm.
tonight. And I was like, I need a picture of this because she does amazing pictures. If she told me no, I'm like, no big deal. Because I asked her if she had it, meaning like, did she already take one? She
Mhm.
takes a lot. She went and did it right then.
She sure did.
And I was like, she's like, how do you want it? I'm like, however, both ways or whatever. Cause I was looking for a teacher gift and I love her pictures. I don't really have I'm still working on it. I didn't want to have put makeup on for me to hold the stuff. I wanted her to make a professional picture for me, and she did. I mean, but it's just like whenever someone's like, "Hey, I'm looking for this," or "Where's this at?" I'm like, "Hold on," and I send the link, and they're like, "Why'd you do it so fast?" I'm like, "Because I had nothing else going on, and you asked me, and here it is."
Well, and I think that the four of us, I think I mean, I don't know. You want to call it divine intervention, you want to call it fate, you want to call it whatever. But it's not like we naturally would have just been like, oh, here's Texas, here's Robin, here's Lisa, here's Jacqui.
Right?
Oh, let's just get together in a little group. No,
Yeah.
it organically formed because we shared the same passion, we wanted the same things, and we just clicked, and that's how the
And we
collaboration
wanted to
started.
work. Like we wanted to
Yes.
work. It was all
Yes.
about, it wasn't about social time getting
Yeah.
together. It was like, what are we going to work on today?
Right.
And because we can think back to when we had the Zooms in the beginning, when we all got together and we
Mhm.
had like 5 to 6, 7, 10 people get on, but it was a social hour.
It was social. It
And
was
it
all
was like,
social. Yeah.
and for me, I was still at that point, because that was 3 years ago, I was still wanting to learn. And I'm like, well, what are y'all working on? Like, show me what you're working on. It's kind of like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
doing Happy Mail. Well, what are you putting in the Happy Mail? I was like
Right.
trying to absorb information. And for someone new, that gets frustrating because we're wanting to learn.
Yeah.
And at the time we were in, it wasn't really a mode for learning and teaching because there was so much going on. It
Hmm.
really was easy to sell. You'd post and you'd get 10 orders.
Yeah.
And that was a hard part for a new person coming in if they were needing to know how to run a business because I've
What
had
to
to
do.
relearn.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I am kind of doing a vlog on YouTube of like, how am I rebuilding this? Because I never really built my business. I fell into a business that was very lucrative. It
Yeah.
was so easy. I mean, I could post 12 times on my VIP page and I would have 30 orders a day.
Yeah.
Real easy because I couldn't post enough. I couldn't get enough content to post something different. And I was doing every hour on the hour from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. because y'all were like, what? I'm like, it works. I mean,
Yeah.
people wanted stuff. And so I was coming up with posts and figuring out
Yeah.
posts, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
But I think, thinking back, you're right. There was no like, hey guys, let's just get together and be, like talk. It just kind of dwindled down that we all needed something and we all had the drive
Yeah.
to want to learn, to try new things, but we all have different outlooks on
Yeah.
it. And, like, I guess, we're all just kind of in a different part. I don't like doing events, but because Lisa's done events and home parties, and so is Robin, and
Right.
so I think didn't you do something? No, you haven't done an event in a
No, I
while.
don't do events. No,
But it was like
I have, but I
you
don't.
know, I can ask questions of being like, it's been a while. What do I need to take? And
Mhm.
I'm the same way. I don't want to take 15 bags. I
Yeah.
done that. I've done that for another business. I literally I bought a bigger vehicle to carry all the stuff to take. And
Yeah.
I have, little 4-door mid-size sedan. Actually, it's probably more of a compact car. And all I take now is a tablecloth, and it's one purple bag. So since he's
Mhm.
got these nice bags, and if it doesn't fit in there, it doesn't go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ever since, like I have my first ever Scentsy home party Thursday. So like in person at a person's house. This is my first one because again, when I started, it was not a thing. Nobody
Yeah.
was going
Yeah.
anywhere. We weren't allowed to, in Texas, we weren't allowed to have more than 10 people, and people were calling the cops on people, so we couldn't do anything. Crazies, neighbors against neighbors. But
Oh my
it's
gosh.
really kind of one of those things that I'm excited for it because I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
If COVID hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't be in Cincy,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have the confidence I do now in this. And I
Yeah.
think after doing my Zoom party, I have, kind of have, I don't want to say script, but I have my spiel. Like
You've got your flow. I
yeah,
mean,
I know
it
how to
comes
get it started.
naturally.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
how to get started. And then all I got to do is look behind me and
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this diffuser, or I'm going to talk about it because the product's there. So I'm going to talk about whatever I have there, and
Yeah.
I can, but that's where,
Well, and I think a lot of people get caught up in having to have like a script or how, I need to know what to say and I need to know, what do I talk about next? And I've never been even when we have events and Sensei will say, yeah, ask me to present and things like that. Whenever I have to write something down and then repeat what it is, I'm not that person. I just talk, and that's just more natural for me. And so when I have team members who will be like, okay, I'm doing a home party. I need to know what to say and how do I talk about the products and what do I talk about and when do I talk about this and when do I talk about that? And they're like, do you have a script? Is there something that you have that I can just like a roadmap that I can read? No. Here's my best suggestion. My best suggestion is to open your catalog and
yes.
just look through the page. Like literally, there shouldn't be a script because it's not scripty. Because then you're not being authentic, right?
And I
Then
can
you're reading
honestly
from a piece of paper.
I can honestly say the other home parties I did for the other direct sales, there was a script. There
Yeah.
was a way, like it was something you printed out, and we didn't have Facebook like it was now. Back then you had to record it on YouTube and then link it to your Facebook and play it that way. There wasn't a live option.
Mhm.
Because I did some live Facebook parties back then, and then I did a whole bunch of in-home because I didn't really have an office.
Yeah.
I mean, I lucked out. The only reason I have an office is because my oldest child moved out
Right.
after she was living here in this room. I don't even know what I think we were going to make it into a spare bedroom, and then I started Cincy because I
Yeah.
moved my desk in here because this desk was sitting out in the dining area, and I was like, I got to move stuff out of the dining area, and I set the desk up, and it's been moved multiple times, but it's never been like I lost my train of thought.
It's
but
not nothing
but
is scripted
but
though.
nothing is scripted, and
Yeah.
I can talk a lot about Scentsy products because I'm a learner. Like I learn and go through. For me, I don't even know where it's at. I moved it. I think it's it's right here. I go through the product guide, the product training guide.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
live off of this.
Yeah.
And this will be going with me to the party because if someone has a question that I can't remember, like someone had asked me about the air purifier and I couldn't remember which HEPA filter it was. I knew it was good, but I couldn't remember. And so I literally pulled this up because it has an information.
Yeah.
And it has all the statistics of how big of an area, how long it lasts. It has all that
Mhm.
stuff. So if you're good at regurgitation, you could read this and then
Oh
start
yeah.
going through and hitting the points
Yeah.
and talk about it. But a lot of the stuff I talk about is how I use it. Like I can talk
Yeah.
about the bathroom cleaner because which I need to do it again, but my shower head, when I
Mhm.
got with Cincy, we'd already been living here for 4 years because we're now on 8th year. and my shower head started to have where it's only like 9 little holes that all went out like this. And so you'd have to kind of like move the shower head. And I used the bathroom cleaner. I hadn't bought it for like the first 2 months because I had the counter clean on everything.
Yeah.
And the counter cleaner wasn't quite working. And so someone was like, get the bathroom cleaner. It took me like 4 tries to soak that thing down with the foam, let it sit. And I'll tell you what, that shower head just was like, we had never had that many holes working. But then the pressure wasn't as strong because there, now it's not being pushed out, 9 holes, it's being pushed out like 50. And all of a sudden there was just like water. So, but it's, with people do ask me for like, what do I send to my people? Like, if they're wanting to recruit, I was like, well, I can't give you a template because I don't know what they've said. I don't know your conversation. So we can talk on the phone so you can kind of tell me your conversations or give me a screenshot of it and I could kind of give you what I would say. But guys, when you stop thinking about what I should say, just think about how would you want someone to respond? How would you, if you were that person, how do you want them to, someone to respond to you if you ask that question?
Authenticity at the end of the day. And like Robin said, you want to be with somebody who would you join, right? Like if
would someone join you? Like, would you join you? When she said that blew me away.
I love that. I absolutely loved it. And if I wasn't in Scentsy and I was just finding out about Scentsy, then yeah, that's exactly what I would want is I'd be like, okay, I want somebody who is in this and I know they're not going anywhere and they're always showing up. Like they show up to things and I see that they're posting things. Okay, they seem to be pretty active. They seem to really like what they do. That's somebody that I want to follow, right? Or that's somebody that I want to be able to do what they're doing because they seem to really like it. And at the end of the day, just like with a regular job, right? If you don't like the job,
you won't do it.
You're not staying, right? Or you're not going to care about it. So find what it is that you like and just do it.
And I will tell you this, if you only use warmers and wax, then
do
talk about the warmers and wax.
Yeah.
Like you can say there's other aspects of the business, but people are like, well, I haven't bought everything else. You don't have to buy anything.
Exactly.
Like, you talk about what you know. I could probably honestly spend an hour talking about the warmers and wax.
Oh, I could too.
Like the different senses and what it does for me and like the different, the different things that we can find out about warmers. Just because I have 8. I've downgraded. There's only 8 in my front room. At Christmas time, there's like 16 because I have, have more. I mean, but I've downgraded in there because my husband was like, it is so bright in here. We don't even have the lights on most of the house because all of my warmers are lit up. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to pack some of them away, some of the older ones. And I told him that I was going to start getting some newer ones and kind of like slowly dwindling, kind of retiring, but I'm going to use those for whenever I'm leaving them somewhere. But I could talk about that of how to clean it, how like if you get the little stain, like we could go through so many aspects of it and I could talk about it for an hour.
Yeah.
And it's only because I use them. I love them. The waxes, I have totes full of wax. And I stopped using a lot of wax. And so my stash is kind of growing because I really was during school. It's hard to remember. I need to change this out. I also don't use as much wax because I'm not here. I don't want to I don't want to waste the scent on the house whenever someone's not here, but I'm, but I'm changing it up. I'm going to start using more wax, and start changing them out so I can get through the stuff that I have.
Yeah.
But I think it all boils down to no matter if you're recruiting or if you're trying to build your business or sales, is that you have to love this. And
you do.
And I will never quit. Like
I won't either.
It's one of those things is that I know how to put this a little bit on the back burner if I had something else I needed to focus on. But I also know the minimum amount of stuff I can do to keep my business going. Even if I don't do Happy Mail, even if I don't do everything, I'm still going to contact my customers. Like that's going to be your number one. Like you need to not like you need to make sure you're contacting your customers no matter what, because they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Posting on Facebook, it honestly isn't a priority. If you're already in contact with your customers, you don't necessarily need to get new ones if you're just trying to stay afloat. But I mean, bottom line is customer service. It's not even about selling. It is all about treating that customer so they want to come back.
I agree. I
I,
agree.
if I ever had somebody who, and I purchased stuff from other people, makeup, I've done hair care, I know I don't have a lot, but I used to, but hair care and face stuff, and I've done other stuff. And I'll tell you that I will reorder from someone who acts like I matter.
Well, and it's a
Act
really
like
good
I'm
point.
important because I spent money with you.
Right.
Just tell me thank you. You don't even have to send me mail, but like getting the text message and then getting something in the mail, like it's the sweetest thing. But I am not a confetti person. I like the confetti queen over here sent me a really cute little thing before SFR, and I knew. So I hold it over the trash can and I start pulling stuff out because I know it's coming. And I have to be careful because I have to shake stuff out. But I know that there's a lot of people that love that. It's wasted on me. Like it really is, because it goes in the trash. It goes in the trash.
Well, and I will tell you, because and I have bought, because like we talked, I'm very influenceable.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get on Etsy, and I've bought, I buy like my digital planner off of Etsy. So I at least buy one of those a year for my girl. At work, I like different fun little badge reels and, all that fun little stuff that I can't make and, whatever. I will tell you that these people who are running business, which Etsy is a business, right? These are small business owners. Okay. Okay. They're working it as a business. I see that. But do you know how many of them actually even told me thank you for my order? How many of them ever reached out again and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I've got a new badge reel, or I just came out and made a whole new whatever.
A
Here you
lanyard, a
go.
new lanyard. Do you want a
Are you
lanyard?
interested? Anything?" I have never heard
Yeah.
from these people ever. And I'm like, okay, well, yes, I run a small business too. Maybe ours look different because I'm direct sales and you're a small shop owner,
Right.
whatever. But at the end of the day, if they were reaching out to me, I guarantee you I'd be buying more.
I'd be buying. Well, I'll tell you what, the makeup
be
that I
buying
was
more.
getting, they haven't reached out to me in 6 months, and it's about time for me to reorder some stuff. And honestly, I would just look for maybe a consultant closer, or
Yeah.
I would just
Or I'd
pick
look
one,
on Amazon, or I'd look up,
or I'd actually go to TikTok and see who is like doing it, because I mean, like, it is really one of those things is that if you're not reaching out, even afterwards, like I don't wear a lot of makeup. I mean, right now I have no makeup on. I have some moisturizer on, but I have no makeup on, and I don't use it every day. But when I'm at school, I do it because I don't want to look like I'm about to have a stroke and people are worried about me because I have rosacea. I'm getting old and I'm getting the perimenopausal rosacea. But at the same time is that if they had reached out to me in the last couple of months, I would have told them, like, end of August, I'm going to need to be ordering because, but they haven't reached out. And I will message customers who haven't, like, if they haven't bought for me in a year, they probably have at least 3 to 4 messages.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to send it to them until they say, quit messaging me.
Right.
Because
And
it's not like I don't take my time.
In 13 years, I have never, ever had one person message me, email me, call me, text me, or whatever, and be like, take me off your list. I've never. They just either don't respond or they never reorder. That's fine. But I've never had someone tell me no.
Well, I've had 2 different instances. A lady had purchased on a party, but I wasn't her normal consultant, and she didn't like me saying thank you. She was like, I already have other people messaging me from Scentsy. I don't need anybody else. And I was like, no worries. Have a great day.
Right.
But she was new to
nothing
me.
on you.
Yeah, that was nothing about my customer service. She's been buying from multiple people, and for her to say, please don't, and I was fine with that. I just put her in my phone as do not answer or do not message, to remind myself. And then another person in the beginning, because in the beginning I was sending a lot of messages because I needed people first to know I was a consultant, and second, there was a lot of stuff going on that I felt everybody had to know everything. So anytime there was a release, so when I started, there was not this Thursday release Monday or Thursday information Monday release. It would be like it's a random Tuesday and then it was releasing on Thursday. Or if it was coming out Monday afternoon and it was releasing Tuesday morning. Like it was, so I had massive messaging thing that the minute I came up with a very templated thing with emojis and excitement, and it was very generic. And I sent it to everybody. And I had a lady who was like, please stop contacting me. Do not contact me anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And then I sent her a thumbs up. But only some of us know what that is. But her sister and her daughter order from me, so I don't care.
Right.
Like, she was a referral to me anyways because she was looking for a Scentsy consultant, but I was too much. And I have learned as I've gotten older that if I'm too much for you, then go find someone who's less, because
That's right.
I can't change me.
Yeah.
You know, my husband tells me you are being too much right now. I'm like, do you want less? Like, seriously? Because I can't be less of me. If you can't handle it, go away. But he's talking about my humor. He really needs less of my humor and, you know, more of me being involved. But, you know, I will say for the hours that I work, I just kind of like, I do a lot from my bed. Whenever I am trying to focus, I will turn on one of my shows and I will send messages between like 6 and 8. And I got to be careful. I got to watch my time. But I'm not, I don't feel that's working.
Well, and so here's the thing. So like this morning, I spent about an hour in my office because I needed to get some mail out to my customers, some of my newsletters that I printed up. So I was like, all right, I did like one batch of, it was 15 of them that I did, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to get my 15 out because I wanted to go to the library today. And I was like, okay, that way I can stop by the post office, drop those off, go to the library, come home, do other things. So I spent a little bit of time in here. I got back, cleaned the house, and I was like, okay, yeah, I need to get some stuff done. I wanted to run some team reports. I wanted to do some business stuff, but I was like, I really don't want to go sit in the office. Yeah. So I did. I went and sat on the couch. I got my laptop. I turned on Veep because I'm rewatching Veep on HBO Max.
I've never watched that. I need it.
You have to watch it.
Okay, I'm going to add it because I've been looking for
good.
Look, I've been pulling out some like 90s, 2000 series like crazy. I'm watching like Cold Case right now, and I was about to start watching
Veep.
Okay.
Veep is amazing. You're going to love it.
Okay.
And so I've seen it, like this is like the third time I think that I've now gone through the seasons because there's like 7 seasons. But I turn that on in the background. I've got my laptop out and I'm just like I call it my passive working, right? Yeah. So I can sit there and I can just kind of do work and I can relax. I've got my heating pad, I've got my drink. I'm just kind of watching TV here or there, and it's not necessarily that, how do I want to say it? It's not the, like I'm sitting in my office, I'm doing my work. It's, we talk a lot about how we can do this business from anywhere. And yeah, if I want to go sit out on the couch and do my business, then I can do that and still get stuff done. I don't know. I guess for me, it's more of because I do enjoy it so much. It's just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, and for you move your laptop. My laptop stays here. This is it's a 19.5-inch screen, touch screen. Like this was when I was working, this was beneficial for me because I could do more things touching the screen and doing that. But I feel that because when I come into my office, I need to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And when I'm like, I want to send out some messages, so I will run, but then I'm on my phone. So I don't take my laptop with me. I don't have an iPad. I'm definitely not an Apple products girl. I want one really bad because I keep sending Jacqui reels of all these things that people do on iPads. And I'm like, Jacqui, I really want this. I said, but I know you have an iPad. So here's this app or whatever they're using. I think it's really cool because Jacqui makes some amazing daily planner things. I love it when she does those reels because her handwriting's gorgeous. But I'll work from my bedroom. And I also do a lot of stuff in my notes in my Android phone. And I have where I can search through, and the notes can be done in multiple ways. And I'm trying to remember to use it for the check. So basically it's the grocery list, but it's a check mark.
Yes.
And so when I'm down, so when I'm not in my dopamine driven, I gotta work today, I try to, every time I think of something I need to do, I'm trying to remember to put it on that checklist. So when I do hit that dopamine high, because honestly, if I could get up in the morning, jump straight in the shower, get dressed, put my shoes on and come into my office, I will work in here for 6 hours. It will be multiple things because school's about to start. Like my school class stuff is already up. So I need to go through it, but not that time right now. So, but that's I'm in now work mode, and I come in here, and the first thing I do is I clear off my desk in case I left anything on there, and I get settled. Right now, this is bothering me because I have this Zoom set up because I have
Right.
a party Thursday, so I left it up because I need to put it in my bag. Whatever fits in
Yeah.
the bag is going to the home party. When I come home, I have 3 other Zoom parties, but I can leave it in the bag until I'm ready because I know what I'm going to put up.
Yeah.
But I left it out because if I don't leave it out, my ADD mind will start thinking of all the crazy things I need to start adding, and then my bag will be too full, and I'll have to add a second bag or a third bag. And I'm trying to tell myself, if it's out here, this is what I'm taking, and that's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So for ADD, when you put your shoes on, you're in work mode.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
kind of said you came home from work and sometimes you don't change, if I
Yeah.
came home from work and took my shoes off, there was nothing else that was going to get done that night.
Mm.
That's how my brain works, because that means I am no longer in work mode. I am now in relax mode, and relax mode doesn't want to be stressed. Relax mode wants to relax. I may work until 1:00 in the morning from my
Yeah.
phone, relax. I don't send messages,
Yeah.
but I will start scheduling posts on my personal and my
Yes.
business page throughout the night. So I'm like, ooh, that's where I get inspired. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to
Yeah.
make this post. And, again,
Well, and it's something because I think because we do love what we do, right? Like we do have a passion for this. Not only, yes, it makes us money, but we enjoy what we do. And we really like what we do. And for me, if I am sitting out again, I'm the same way, right? If I'm in my office and it is work, like I'm working,
working.
okay? It is working, it is this, it is this, it is this, it is this. When I'm out there, it's not so much working. It's okay, I'm gonna get some emails done. Maybe I'll work on some Canva projects. Maybe I'll schedule my post. Maybe I'll get this done, right? It's more of those, I'm just gonna check these things off the list as I
Yep.
go, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it will also, what else would I be doing if I was sitting out there? I'd be rotting and watching something again on Netflix,
You'd be
or
scrolling through
I'd
TikTok.
be scrolling TikTok. So why not sit there and do something more productive with my time?
Yeah.
Then do that. Now, it
Well,
doesn't
and
mean I don't fall down the rabbit hole, because I do.
right.
But
Well, and I watch a lot of entrepreneurs. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube that are, like Mel Robbins, that talks about, what you need to pull out of your life to run a business. But
Mhm.
it's kind of funny because I saw a meme the other day that, entrepreneurs are the only ones who stopped working for someone else because they didn't want to work the hours to work 90 hours from home.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather work 90 hours and work for myself
Yeah.
than to go spend 40 hours doing something I absolutely hated.
Yeah.
And because I was there.
Yeah.
And even though, like, I still want to get a job just so I can get out of the house.
Mhm.
But I now have an option of being picky because
Yes.
I'm in school right now. So I am working for a certification and an associate's degree. I have 2 certifications and an associate's degree that I'm working for at the same time
Yeah.
to get a job. And because I do want to be quote unquote productive, because
Uh-huh.
I do have a lot of skills that doesn't necessarily relate to Scentsy, because I am a
Yes.
very data oriented. Computers are like my jam,
Yes.
and I love numbers. So that's why I'm the numbers person.
Yes.
Jackie's organized, but I'm the one who like goes through and like, here is the list of the things. Pick what topic we're talking about.
Yes.
And I do it every week because, it may hit somebody like, ooh, we need to talk about this, or I know, and there's different topics. And I do utilize like ChatGPT to
Mhm.
come up with topics, because it is hard to start to think when we were doing this, like, what do we want to talk about?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's all about what's also going on with the business at the same time. Like, we talked about SFR and we talked about other things that we try to incorporate all this at the same time. But having someone else tell us a topic, we all can talk about anything. But
Yes.
honestly, if we weren't doing these scheduled podcasts, if we were on a Zoom, our conversations don't go like this. We don't sit there and have training time on Zoom.
Right.
Like, it's
Right.
because we all are working our business, but
Yeah.
we love to get back. And that's,
Mhm.
that was my secondary reason of doing this podcast. My first one was very, very personal because I want to see my besties. And now I see them every week, not all
Yes.
of them, but it varies. And, so this is something that if you're interested in building up your social platforms, whichever one you're on, start utilizing all the things. Like
Yeah.
Facebook has a lot of features. Instagram has different features. YouTube has a whole bunch of different features, and TikTok does as well. So
Yeah.
if you're starting out, because I wasn't a YouTuber, like I watched them, how-tos. There's so much how-tos now. And I
Yes.
followed Jacqui, and we had a conversation about 2 years ago, and I was like, I really want to do some training. She's like, record them, put them on YouTube. It's like, record it in your group, download it, upload it to YouTube.
Yep.
And that's why I also started the vlog. And then I've also had this, podcast in mind, because I wanted to be able to talk Scentsy. And
Yeah.
because I feel that this is reaching so many different people on different levels, because we have a lot of questions. There's a lot of things, like what we did 3-4 years ago is not what we're doing today.
Exactly.
We have so many people in the business that were doing it, from where you've been at for 13 years and 14 and 15 years. We hit our 20.
Yeah.
And then there's some newbies that started in the middle of COVID where things were not like normal.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of disconnect, because people are signing up without knowing who they're signing up underneath and not knowing how to do things.
Yeah.
Because I try to be the leader that I wanted,
Yes.
but at the same time is that they may not know me, so they don't know if they want me. But they're gonna get me, and if I am too much, then they can do less. Like I don't know. I love that saying. It's like, if I'm too much, then find less, because we all have our attributes. So
We do.
we are. Oh wow, it is after 9:00. So do you want to close this out, or do you want me to close? I can close.
You
I
can
won't make
close
a thing.
this out.
I won't
You
make
can
a
close
thing.
this out.
Well,
Okay.
guys, this is our after hours of our podcast. This podcast is just for you guys, as consultants, or even if you're just coming across this either on an Audible or on Spotify or wherever else you're finding us. This after hours is literally us just chatting and talking, and we try to keep with the same topic, but you know what? It never works out that way. Sometimes we get totally off on it. But again, we are here for you guys. So if you have questions or concerns of like how to do this and how to do that, or if there was something today that you had the aha moment, make sure that you drop it down in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on wherever you have found us, so that way you get the content every single week. Guys, this is something that we definitely enjoy. We did talk about some income disclosure stuff, so I will make sure to be adding that in the description in this one and the other one. We do jump straight off of one into the other one, so there's not much that you miss. You might miss
There's
2
no
words.
filter.
There's no filter in the secondary ones. So if you're really wanting more of the training, you stick with the other one. But the after hours is us a little bit more relaxed, just a little bit more flowy, just because we love this. So again, if you haven't been told today, we love you. You are important. You are worthy, and you are strong enough to do this. Just keep going. Find your tribe and find your drive, and just keep trucking it, guys. I am Cassie Bollinger.
I am Jacqui Duran.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.